I am Michelle McKechnie. I teach at Overlake Elementary in Tooele School District in Tooele, Utah. And I'm here tonight to talk about our reading program that we have here in our district. So I want to start out by giving you just a little bit of information on how our brains learn to read, as according to SUSE. So there are three neural systems that are involved in reading. The first is visual processing, obviously having to do with our eyes. The second is auditory processing, having to do with our ears. And then the last piece of that is the frontal lobe, which produces meaning of text or things that students bring in. There are also some skills that are involved in learning to read, which include phonological and phonemic awareness, alphabetic principles, and phonics, vocabulary fluency, and text comprehension. I'm going to come back to those in just a second, but I do want to say too that all of our students have to be ready to learn to read because reading is not a natural ability, and the more that students practice at home or have experience with reading at home, the better that they are prepared for us to teach them. So the program that we use here in Tooele County School District, district-wide, is called Journeys. It is published by the Houghton Mifflin Harcourt Publishing Company, and it was published, its last copyright date was in 2017. There are older versions of it, but we use the newest version, which is Common Core aligned. So in the younger grades, they focus a lot on phonemic awareness and phonological awareness, which is just making sense of words and letter sounds, as well as alphabetic principles and phonics, the key foundations of reading. And the Journeys program does a really, really good job of supporting that with anchor texts and vocabulary flashcards, things like that that students need to learn to read. But up here in the upper grades, I teach 6th grade, we focus a whole lot more on vocabulary and fluency and comprehension. And the Journeys program has a plethora of things that we use to teach reading. So the program itself comes with a lot of different pieces. It comes with a reader's notebook that has comprehension, grammar, spelling, vocabulary. It comes with a performance assessment book, which is actually a writing program that uses closed reading materials to teach students how to write, specifically with the 3 types of writing that we focus on, which is argumentative, narrative, and informative writing. It also comes with a closed reader that we use in small groups that teaches closed reading skills like note-taking. It has a really cool system of using trade books. So rather than just using a textbook to teach reading, which it has for weekly lessons, it uses trade book novels so that students get practice in novel studies and they're able to use higher level thinking in order to come to those comprehension skills that we need to teach. It has got vocabulary cards and it has online media access. There are a lot of tools that the online program uses. My favorite being the audio hub, where they have recorded audio versions of all the stories that are in the textbook so that students can listen to them rather than just read it. It also comes with interactive whiteboard materials for teachers to use with their smart boards. And then it has all the tests, both online and in pencil and paper form. We've been using the program for the last 3 years. The first few years we were asked to use it with fidelity, but this year in my grade level, we decided that we just did not feel like the program was working for our students. We were overwhelmed as teachers, overwhelmed as students with the learning pace because it asks for students to start a story on Monday and test it by Friday. And our district has a half day on Wednesday, so we don't teach reading on Wednesday. So we were really trying to teach an entire skill set in 3 days. And so we stretched the program to 2 weeks, which we felt like was a really good way of helping our students get the meaning, produce meaning of these stories rather than, oh, I'm just gonna read another story and then we're gonna move on. They were able to really dig deeper into it. As teachers, we felt like we could have better conversations, use more small group time to focus on the skills that we needed to teach, those vocabulary, comprehension, fluency pieces, because as Susa also states, with any area that a student has in their learning, those learning gaps, they are not able to move on to the next stage of their ability to learn to read. So we want to make sure that we're hitting all of those things. And by stretching the program to 2 weeks, it allowed us to really give students more time to get all of that information into long-term memory. We have felt really good about the program. Other than there's just a lot to it, we've been able to really delve a little bit deeper into it, find new things. I'm still finding things 3 years into it that I didn't know we had access to. However, some of the issues that I feel might be hindering the success of the program is that some teachers are still not using it with fidelity. And so that has a hard time when students move out of another school and come into our school. Sometimes they're a little bit behind because their teachers weren't using it. We also feel like there could be more resources. Sometimes we don't have access to computers or internet, and so our kids don't have access to all the things that are online. So maybe having, audio discs that we can plug in and we can run in small groups, or having access to the computer tests online in a computer lab, so that we can run those online tests. So students are more used to testing in an online system like they can at end of year testing. However, we do feel that, or I feel that the program is effective based off of what SUSE's findings say, that it has to have all those components of that phonological, phenological awareness, the alphabetic principles and phonics, the vocabulary, the fluency, and the comprehension piece. All of those are in there, and SUSE says that by having all of those in there, it makes it an effective reading program. So overall, I feel that Journeys is a fantastic program, and I probably would not make very many changes. So thank you for listening to my audio analysis of the Journeys reading program here in Toledo, Utah.